It is a blessed Wednesday morning, the 24th of July, 2024, and the time is exactly 16 minutes past the hour of 10 o'clock. Greetings, land of the brave and beyond, and a very warm welcome to yet another information sharing session. As always, we are live from the Government Information Center here in the capital city, Windhoek. Thank you so much, Namibia, for tuning in. For this morning's episode, I will be your host, Helene Philippe Samuela, and alongside my studio guests, we'll be keeping you company for the next hour or so. On the menu this morning, I am joined in the studio by the CEO, that's the Chief Executive Officer of NamWater, Mr. Abraham Nehemiah, and he's here to help us unpack the comprehensive and detailed overview of NamWater. Mr. Nehemiah, once again, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on board this morning. Good morning and welcome to the Government Information Center.
Good morning. I'm pleased to be here, sir.
Right. Now, first things first. Before we tap into the whole discussion, maybe you can just please give us a brief overview of what NamWater's mandate is.
Yes, NamWater is a government company, state-owned enterprise that is established to provide water in bulk to the nation. And therefore, we have to make sure that we are making water available to industries, to local authorities, to mining entities. So all those that take water in bulk, that is the mandate of NamWater. And we must make sure that that water is provided in a good quantity or acceptable quality.
Right. Now, I'm made aware that you will be making a presentation this morning. Perhaps while the team is loading the presentation, if you can just perhaps also tell us when NamWater was established.
Yeah, NamWater was established in 1997 through an act of Parliament. So we have an act that guides us in our operations and how we are doing our work. And it was registered also in the same year, 1997.
Right. Okay. I'm hoping that the presentation is ready now. If it is ready, then I would want to know, you've heard recent groundbreaking ceremonies. Can you briefly highlight what it entailed?
Yeah, in the last 4 to 5 years, we have actually developed our 5-year strategy document that guides us as to how we have to do our operations. And one of our strategic objectives actually is ensuring that we develop infrastructure that's going to ensure that we are able to carry out our mandate. We had to, first of all, start looking at how do we mobilize funds that are required. As you know, infrastructure, especially water infrastructure, is costly, and you need billions if you have really to make sure that you provide that water is required.
Right.
So we sorted out the financing, and then we came to planning and design of a couple of infrastructures, looking at replacing the aging infrastructure and also developing new ones. So we then did all the necessary feasibility studies, and we then do the procurement. And as we speak, we have a couple of contractors that are on site already. Okay. And it was then that project or site that were handed over to the contractors that were doing the groundbreaking ceremonies. And as we speak, there is dust, going in the air at various sites countrywide. Okay. And I'll touch on them more on when I do my presentation.
All right. Okay, so the presentation is loaded. If you can then just take us through the presentation, Mr. Nehemiah.
Good. Thank you very much. As you said, my name is Abraham Nehemiah. I'm going to do this presentation, and I'm happy really to be here the GIC to engage the population as to what we are doing and what our objectives are and what our challenges are. Supplying water is not an easy thing, and I will then touch on really who we are and how do we engage with our customers, and also how we operate, and looking at infrastructure development, as I said. Touching a bit on the issue of cost recovery, we know we have to sell water to get money to be able to carry on supplying water as well. And also then looking at the aspect of applying for water by customers, how we handle that. And I'll touch on the corporate social responsibility of NamWater, our policy and all that, so that we are really at the same par.
Right.
So maybe just giving a bit of a background on NamWater. So NamWater has come through the government processes and structures and policies. And one of the key documents that one can relate to in terms of why NamWater is in place is the Constitution of the Republic of Namibia, which under its Article 95, Section 1, indicates that the natural resources that we have in this country should be utilized on the sustainable basis for all the Namibians, so that we can have good life now and also for the future generations. And the other article that's critical is Article 100, which states that land, water, and natural resources belong to state. This is really critical because if we have to supply water, not all water will be found in the areas or the sources that are in the government land. We might also find some water that is found on private land. So this is very clear in saying if we have to find water in a private farm or so, we have the right to take that water and supply the rest of the nation. So we were established through an Act of Parliament, as I said, with Act 12 of 1997, and we were registered as a company on the 9th December of the same year. And we are ready to supply water to bulk customers, not retail and rural communities as such. But I will also touch on how things have been changing. That at the end of the day, we were forced to supply water even to rural communities because our pipelines go through rural communities, and you cannot have a pipeline going through villages and people have no water. So at the end of the day, we were forced to supply water to these rural communities as well. And our new strategy now, we have changed to allow us really to get into retail business so that we can have the communities also having water from our lines. And that is a really shift in the original mandate, which was only for bulk. So we are moving into looking into the rural communities as well.
Yeah, having said that, Mr. Nehemiah, how has that process been going? Have you encountered any challenges with dealing with the rural area community members that may want to get or request water from NamWater?
Yes, definitely we have been encountering challenges. One being that people try by all means to have access to water, and sometimes they try to illegally tap water from our pipelines, which is a challenging thing. And also that these rural communities, we, just like other bulk customers as well, there's a number of them really that are not really adhering to fulfilling their responsibility of paying for water.
Right.
And it's really a bit of a challenge because we have to make sure that this water is available. We have to do a lot of maintenance. We have to do a lot of repairs. And if you're not really getting some money coming from these people, then it is a bit of a problem. But the main mandate for us is to make sure that everybody has water.
Right.
So we have other means. I will touch on those as well as to what are we trying really to do to make sure that people get water, but NamWater should also be sustainable in terms of carrying its own operations.
Right, and I'm sure you have. There are you do have processes on how to go about the clients going about requesting water from you. I'm sure you will touch a bit on this later on. Maybe let me just allow you to proceed with your presentation for now.
Good. Yeah, we as I said, our mandate is to provide a bulk water supply to the customers. We also render water-related services. And also granting rights to customers upon request, because we have some water sources that we are responsible for, and sometimes we get people who are applying for water directly from us as NamWater. So we also make provision for that people are able to get water through our operations as well. So we as NamWater do explore, develop and manage water resources for the purpose of water supply. That is then putting up pump stations from the rivers, from the groundwater sources, making sure that we get that water treated, making sure that that water is conveyed to the end users. So we are doing all that. So we acquire, we plan, we design, we construct, and we extend or alter and maintain, repair, operate, and control and dispose of waterworks as well. So we are really in the whole value chain of water from the source up to where it's utilized by the consumers.
Right.
And if we look really at the strategic issues with NamWater, those strategic perspectives, if you look at our mission, we say we shall provide quality water and related services to the satisfaction of all stakeholders, taking cognizance of the environment, scarcity of and dependency of all on water. So we don't want to think of ours is just to pump and pump and pump. So as we are pumping and supplying, we are also taking cognizance of the requirements of the environment, and also that when we get our equipment, machines and things on site, at the end of the day, we don't disturb the environment to the detriment of later on the nation having serious environmental problems.
Right.
Now, also looking at our strategies, the vision brand promise, what we are using as something that is at our heart, is to make sure that we make water available for all, forever. So not only that, I mean, that's why the environment is very critical. That if you are taking water from a source, you must ensure that it's sustainability, so that people will have water forever. And not only to pump and pump it dry, and tomorrow people do not have water. So we are really looking into that. Therefore, our values are really looking into innovation, so that we do things better and cheaper. Looking at customer focus, that our people really are taken care of. We do our best we can to make sure that they are happy all the time. And we can only achieve that through teamwork and really having integrity, the company that is really respected because of the way we are doing things. And also the accountability aspect, that we really account for whatever is entrusted to us.
Right.
So the customer profile, then the people that we are supplying, we supply water to local authorities and municipalities. That is really the original mandate of bulk water supply to those who have a bulk meter, and we give water to the city of Windhoek, and city then distribute water to everybody else.
Right.
The retail customers, which I said, which was not supposed really to be our responsibility at the beginning, but if you look at the figure we have now, we stand at 54,000, over 54,000 retail customers. These are the people with private connections in the rural areas that we are supplying. Then the government institutions, we are providing water to schools, to hospitals, to clinics, police stations, and all those institutions around the country. We also provide irrigation water to customers, big schemes like the Hard Up scheme, so we provide water to them. We are looking forward to the irrigation scheme at the Nekatal Dam.
Okay.
being commissioned so that we can also supply that water. You know probably now that that dam is full of water. Still around the 80% things, and nothing is happening. So we are looking forward really to that scheme getting off the ground so that we can supply a lot of water to those people.
Right.
Then the other customer, if you can just go back a bit, I don't know whether I can do that, is the mines and industries. It's critical, the Coca-Colas, the Woodstock mines, the breweries. So we are supplying water to those people as well. So that's the customer profile of the entities that we are supplying water to. Okay. Now, if you look at them in terms of who takes what, you can see that City of Windhoek is our number one, taking about 18 million cubic meters per annum. Okay. And these are only some of them. Then you see Etunda as well. Etunda is irrigation water, so that is raw water. So they are about over 8 million cubic meters per annum. The Swakop uranium mine, also around close to 7-point-something million cubic meters per annum, followed by municipality of Walvis Bay, Rundu Town, also the NamWater date project at south of Keetmanshoop, and also then the municipality of Swakopmund. These are just some of the bigger ones, right, but we are supplying water to everybody. Okay. So we do our operations with what we call business units, and we have 5 of them. So we are not following the political regions. We have our own setup in terms of divisions where we are operating. We have business unit Northwest, Northeast. We have Central, Coastal, and South. And we have people who are responsible for those business units, carrying out our operations. So coming to infrastructure development, we invest in water infrastructure development for the purpose of acquiring assets. We must have assets as a company responsible for water in this country. And also looking at replacing the existing infrastructure that's getting old, because the infrastructure is just like any other living thing. It has its lifetime. So when it reaches that time, it is done. So you have to really replace it. So, and we do the drilling of boreholes as well, new boreholes, and we also replace some old ones. And just all because we want to make sure that we have water that we are able to supply to the demand points. Okay.
On this one, Mr. Nehemiah, the drilling of boreholes, can private clients also approach you to drill boreholes, or is it just your own projects that you are carrying out?
Yeah, we only drill our own boreholes. Okay. The process of drilling boreholes in Namibia starts with the Ministry of Agriculture, Water and Land Reform, because what you need first is to really indicate why you want to drill a borehole, and also then apply for a drilling permit, and we'll then apply for an abstraction permit. But all those things for private individuals are done with the Ministry of Agriculture. For NamWater, we only drill our own boreholes for our own operations. Okay. So the other aspect that's very critical in terms of bulk water supply is the aspect of cost recovery, which is provided for in our Act, that NamWater really have to provide water based on cost recovery principles. So when we started as a young company in 1997, the government provided subsidy, which was just meant for 1 or 2 years for us to get off the ground, and then we were expected to go on our own through cost recovery. So we have to charge the people that we are supplying water to for us to be able to carry on with our work. It has not been easy. The first 10 years, it has been difficult. We were even forced to look into restructuring so that we can streamline the organization. Because when NamWater was created, it was created from the Department of Water Affairs. And it's a lot of people and a lot of other things that were just then transferred to NamWater without really looking at the strategic way of ensuring that you are going to be sustainable. So we had to streamline at the end of the day to ensure that we only have or we only swallow what we can chew.
Right.
And but we managed to really get the company off the ground. And today it is a really a going concern without really major problems.
Right.
So we know that, as I said, providing water is very costly because of the inputs that are required. If you look, for instance, at getting water from Kalwek to Omsegonime, that water has to get there through pumping. So a lot of our money is really invested in power supply for us to be able to pump water from point A to point B. Water has to be treated. We have to buy chemicals. Chemicals are imported from outside Namibia. Right. So it's really costly. So that's why when we talk of people should really please pay for water. It's not that we just want money that we are going to invest somewhere. We want money to be able to buy the inputs that are required to deliver the next drop of water to the same customers and also to the new customers that are coming on board. So infrastructure really such as dams, water pipes, reservoirs, purification plants are not only expensive to build, but also to maintain. So the maintenance is very critical, because maintenance does not only keep the infrastructure in a good condition, it also prolongs the life of this infrastructure. So we have infrastructure that we have inherited from the pre-independence era. But there are still some of them, they are still operational. And it's because of the maintenance. Although that really it's time now to get rid of all these old ones. So the money that is then spent on all this, we should recover it. We take $1, buy a drop of water, sell it at $1.10, so that I can, that 10 cents from every supply point then, so that I'm able also then to put up a new plant or pipeline for the other users as well, and also to continuously supply water then to those that are already getting water.
Okay. Now, Mr. Nehemiah, you did mention about the problems that you encounter in the clientels not paying for their water when it's needed. What mitigating factors do you have in place to ensure that the clientels actually pay up their bills in order to keep this water running for everyone?
Yeah, the first thing that we really do in terms of trying to recover our costs from the users is continuous engagement.
Right.
We go to these communities, we talk to them, we go to everybody, even government. We even go to a cabinet and say, ministries, please look into the debt that's owed by your own institutions. So we try to talk to everybody.
Right.
And it's not always easy because we don't really have stringent measures that we take to harm the water supply.
Right.
What you do not want to happen is people to be without water.
Right.
You don't want a school with a hostel to be without water, or a hospital to be without water. But yet the payments is coming slow.
Right.
We finally had engaged even the government, central government, cabinet level to say, can't we look into ring fencing some of this debt? And then the government pay us the money that's owed to us. And then we see how we deal with that. So it was discussed, and it led to a point now where the government has decided to say the only way we have to go now is prepayment, prepaid meters, so that people buy water just like they buy electricity.
Yes.
And you check your meter reading all the time. You see, oh, I only have 10 cubic meters left, so I must go and buy more. Because this post-payment thing where you get water first and go and pay, people are not really coming for. We know there are people who are struggling to pay.
Right.
But honestly, there are also people who are able to pay, but they are not just...
they're reluctant.
They are reluctant to do that. And this is something that we as a country, I think we really have to look into how it will work. The prepaid meters, if it's properly implemented, it will help, but we should also then look at ensuring that nobody will be without water.
Right. Okay. Now, Namibia, you are still tuned into the Government Information Center. I am joined in the studio by the CEO of NamWater, Mr. Abraham Nehemiah, and he's here to help us unpack the comprehensive and detailed overview of NamWater's activities. And I am your host for this morning, Heleni Felepe-Samunyela. You can take part in this conversation by joining and following the discussions on our social media platforms. On Facebook, we are at Ministry of Information and Communications Technology, or you can also stream us live on our YouTube channel, and our handle there is MICT Namibia. Post your questions and get your responses from the CEO here in the studio. I believe we can continue with the presentation then, Mr. Nehemiah.
All right. Now, looking at payment for water, people pay water based on approved tariffs. So we are supposed to keep ourselves as a going concern through charging the users, and also through requesting for tariff increases from time to time. As we speak, NamWater has been for 5 years without tariff increases. Right. But we are going. We are from the land of the brave, so we are doing everything possible to make sure that we continue supplying water to the people. But if you look at the tariff that's not increased and the debt that's owed to NamWater, you can really see how we are struggling, and we need to be really supported. That people really try their best to be able to pay for the water that they are consuming.
Right.
So we put up infrastructure, as I said, and we need to take water to people who are very far from the water sources. And only if we support each other that NamWater will be there in the long run to be able to supply water to the people. The millions of dollars that we are spending on treatment and purification of water, so it's not an easy thing. And the cost of water is built into tariffs that should be adjusted each year so that the costs are recovered fully. But that is something that we are really working on. And I really have to appreciate, as I said, that the government, even up to a cabinet level, has come in and say, how do we really deal with this issue of NamWater and even NamPower? We are in the same boat.
Right.
Having services that are provided, but the recovery of the cost that is supposed to be there to ensure that they continue to supply those services is a problem. So we are together with the central government really working on this, and look forward to finding a long-lasting solution to the issue.
Right.
So maybe just touching again a bit on the tariffs. The tariffs definitely include the depreciation, the operational cost, and the return on investment. So we are really trying to use that as a means to keep us going. But what we have also come up now with the new strategy is to look into diversification. So we feel we cannot rely on water sales as the only source of income. So we are looking into really studying our value chain and say, when I have to take water from the river, what is possible there? Including the involvement of the private sector. What can be done that will help us to do this water supply cheaper, but ensuring that the same quantity that's expected by the users is done. Now, what else can we done for instance, in terms of water treatment? We have a laboratory which we are looking at getting it registered proper, and we can do tests for many other people and they pay.
Yeah, or maybe training.
We have a training center in Okahanja where we have people who are coming for training to the technical trades, artisans and so on. We are training them for the mines, for municipalities. So we are looking at how do we get additional money to come in rather than just focusing on the supply of water. Absolutely. And if you look at the population and you look at the economy, so you don't expect much. But supplying water, especially in the regions, you find either a clinic or a school or put up 25 kilometers away from where NamWater systems are. So you lay a pipeline of 25 kilometers to that school. And if they pay for water, they will not be able to recover the cost that you put into that pipeline. So we must find other sources that will help us to recover the costs other than the water tariffs only. Indeed. So otherwise, if you increase the tariffs based on the actual cost, it won't be affordable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Well, I said people are able to apply for water from us. I just want to touch a bit on that one as well. So we need the documentations. If people, for instance, the rural areas want connections, they have just to get the papers for their own personal papers, IDs and things. They must get a letter from the headman, for instance, who said this person is really living in my village, and I know he's a trustworthy person, who can be provided with all these services. And then they fill in the application forms, and then we do the connections for them.
Okay. So the application forms are with NamWater,
yes.
Or do the headmans also have access to these application forms?
Yeah, no, the application forms are with NamWater. We have offices countrywide, both in the capitals of the regions and also some extended offices all over the country. So people are able to access these forms at our offices without a problem.
Right.
So once then the forms are filled in, we then sign an agreement, and then the applicant pays, and then we go and do the connection. Okay. And then from there, then the payment process follows. Then, right. On a monthly basis, then we have to send these people the invoices or the bills, as they call it, so that they can then pay for the services they are getting. Okay.
For interest's sake, whilst on that, what is the turnaround time on applying for water and being able to get the water for somebody, let's say in the rural areas, because that's where the most water application is?
Yeah, no, it's not quite a long time. It should be able to be done within a month's time. Okay. The problem that sometimes is when we have to buy the water meters. You go through this tendering process, and then you end up taking 3 months before you really have the meters in stock.
Okay.
And all that time, people are still applying for water.
That's if now there is no water meters
Yes.
in stock
Yes.
upon application.
Yeah, but if the meters are there, definitely it should not be longer than a month. Then a person has got his connection done.
Okay. Maybe also whilst at that point, Mr. Nemia, perhaps for somebody that is based, let's say, Okangudi or Hangwena region, and they are looking to apply for water, how do they know which one? Is it NamWater's water pipeline, or is it a Ministry of Agriculture? Where is that distinct?
Yeah, that has been really a problem for years. Where people did not know really who is responsible. And that's why if you even hear people even talking on these calling programs, they will always say, this NamWater or ministry, whatever. So they are not fully sure who is responsible for what.
Right.
And that is one of the reasons that led to us changing the strategy and say, let all the retail customers come to NamWater. Okay. What we are trying to do with this one is to say, we are going to be responsible for the water that we take from the source up to the end. Because the current system is you have bulk pipelines, and we put water into the rural pipelines. Now, if rural pipeline does not have water, then rural definitely will say, yeah, it's NamWater who did not put water in the line.
Right.
So we want to be responsible for all the pipelines.
Okay.
That will now separate the functions between the two, so that rural water supply will be responsible for point supply, boreholes, dams, those earth dams that people use for their livestock, wells, and all that. Okay. But all the pipelines, we are now in the process of organizing workshops. We are going to discuss how we are going to really get to the implementation of this new approach, so that NamWater takes over all the pipelines, even in the rural areas, and make sure that any question we know we must run because it is our problem. Now, if I hear there is a problem at Okangudu, I say, but that is rural.
Yeah.
But maybe it's actual, our system was not able to put enough water in the rural system.
Right.
So it is a bit of a problem, and we want to really get rid of that confusion, so that we then be accountable for ensuring that everybody who is getting water from a pipeline is a NamWater problem.
Absolutely. Okay, we are running out of time. Time is never enough, but I would want to accord you this opportunity to please continue with your presentation, hopefully faster, so that we can ensure that everything is covered that is supposed to be covered. Over to you.
All right, I think in terms of payment, we have done justice to that. As I said, payment, people get bills. In most cases, they come and pay at our offices. There are also some instances where people take their readings from their meters, and they bring the readings to the offices, and then they pay that time. Right. Because it's this thing of people scattered all over the place, especially in the North Central. And that's why we want, when we take over this whole thing, we are going to really look at what's the best way to make sure that these people are helped. We are probably even going to consider putting up additional pay points in the rural areas, taking cognizance then of the safety. So we put up a pay point.
Maybe regional offices of some ministries. Or?
Yeah. No, we are looking at that. We are also using post offices and all that.
Yes.
It's a combination of many ways where people can do their payments. Okay. But what we want to do is to get these pay points closer to the people.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just to make sure then that people probably who are not aware of who are the contact people for NamWater in various business units. For the Central, we have Mr. Bernard Marco. and yeah, the emails probably if the people can see them.
Yeah.
Coastal is Madam Foster Janine, and for the south is Mr. Kavita Franklin, and for the northwest is Mr. Wanga Sabat, and for the northeast is Mr. Mlonga Ores. Okay. Just those who can quickly look at that. Okay. Yeah, the payment, I said I have done enough. I think we must skip that one.
Justice, yes. You've done justice on that one.
Yeah.
On to the next slide.
Okay, the groundbreaking ceremonies and ongoing projects. That's the very important one. Yeah. We have currently projects that are at different stages. Some we are still finalizing the designs. Some we have consultants doing the studies and designs, and some are actual, the contractors are on site. Okay. And we also have, I have to mention, we also have our own engineering team that's doing internal work, like what you see now in the picture there is our own team at Ogongo. We're doing a bypass of that canal. And we do all this work ourselves as well. So we only don't depend on the contractors. Some of the work we do ourselves. And as we are moving, we are really building the capacity, internal capacity.
And I'm actually glad you've mentioned earlier that you are looking at ways in diversifying also to ensure that you provide training to other institutions or other private companies that may be interested in such doing.
Yes. Definitely the capacity, especially when we do the training, we are not doing it for NamWater, we are doing it for the country. Okay. So anywhere these people are required, they are doing it for Namibia. Okay. So that's our motto, let's train, and we hope other institutions will also be doing the same, because we don't want just to be training and others are poaching. Right. So we should all assist each other to ensure that we build the capacity in this country.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so maybe we should look at the previous slide where we can touch on the projects that still back. Okay. Yeah, the projects in the business unit Northwest. That is the Ohangwena, Oshkoto, Shana, Omsati, and the Kunene. There we have the Oshakati Purification Plant Extension. It's quite a big project. That project we are supported by the African Development Bank in terms of financing. Right. It was advertised, but there were issues in terms of procurement. So we have re-advertised as we speak. It's running. Okay. It's quite a big project. Ohangwena 2 well field, that is tapping water from the Ohangwena 2 aquifer. Okay. The contractor is already on site doing the work. The Kalwek Oshakati Canal rehabilitation is, we have done the portion between the borders and Olusanja Dam, and we are going to carry on now from Olusanja to Otapi. The Otapi purification plant, we just signed the contract yesterday with the contractor. Right. So next week the contractor is on site to get that plant going. And the Olusanja purification plant upgrade, we are also with the documentations, so soon that will also take off. Okay. I think 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, we did the groundbreaking ceremony for the Rundu water treatment plant. It's also one of the big projects that we are really implementing. Okay. That project is meant to put up a plant that is initially going to be supplying water to the whole Rundu town, but is expected to supply water to extended pipelines, one from Rundu to Mururani Gate, and one from Rundu going east to Bagani, and the other one from Rundu to towards Nkurenkuru and Katwiti. So we're going to put up infrastructure, because if you look at the two Kavango regions, they don't have this big infrastructure. Yes, and we really want to bring them on board so that they are not going to the river any longer. Right. And get caught by the crocodiles. So we are really looking into fast-tracking that one. We are already engaging the ministries and the possible funders. The coastal area, we are looking at the desalination plant. The plant, as we speak, NamWater has been appointed as an implementing agency. We have looked at all the options. We finally agreed that the option we have to follow is the joint venture with private partner, private sector partners. Okay. We have got all the necessary approvals from cabinet, from Attorney General's office, from Ministry of Finance. So we have all the necessary documentations and approvals. We are only finalizing the joint venture company and agreement, and the work will start soon. So there might be dust in the sea as well.
Right.
We have the coastal area is the area where most of the work is already done. Okay. The whole system is revamped. All the pipelines are new now. We took out all of them. Most of them were underground. Now we have them above ground. If you drive between Swakopmund and Walvis Bay, taking the inner road, you will see all those pipelines. You drive from Swakopmund to Hens Bay, you see it's pipelines everywhere. Okay. The collector 2 rehabilitation, the reservoir is done. The Hens Bay extension, we just did the groundbreaking ceremony 2 months ago, so the contractor is on site. All right. The Karibi new reservoir, we are busy with the documentations, and soon we will award that one as well. Quiseb Delta new scheme that is drilling new boreholes within the Quiseb aquifer to be able to make more water available for supply to Walvis Bay. So that is also being concluded. The Quiseb Swakopmund pipeline replacement, there are only 2 portions of about 20 kilometers. Okay. That's the rest of the pipeline is already done. Okay. Lange scheme upgrade, we are working on that because Lange mine was on care maintenance. Okay. Now they are again reopening. So we are upgrading everything so that they have all the necessary water they need. All right. The Omdale Foska-Bakken pipeline is also a replacement of a short portion that has not been done. And that one we are going to get the contractor on site soon as well to get the work done. Okay. The south, we are doing the master plan for the whole southern area. The contractor is already busy. The Notekietman Swap extension, that pipeline was also advertised, but then the contractor had some issues. So we are again re-advertising that, or we have already re-advertised that. The Ariam's Fly extension, going on, Arab extension, almost done. Guru now, we are busy. Varmbat extension and upgrade, we are also busy. So you can see countrywide, we are busy everywhere. So we really want all these old pipes to be out of the ground and put in new ones.
All right. Okay, all right.
Those are just some of the pictures that the minister at one of the groundbreaking ceremonies. I think that was at Angwena 2. All right. That's the construction of the Quiseb Collector 2 pipeline. That's the same project. Those are the pipes that you find there. It's this big pipes.
Off the ground.
Making sure that we have water for the next 30, 40 years without a problem.
Right.
No breaks, no nothing. Those are manholes type where we have the valves and meters and all that. It's just an example of one. Okay. That's the canal I spoke about between the border and Olshanja Dam. You can see the tar road on the far left. And in the middle is the temporary canal, because while we are constructing, water has to flow to Oshakati. Right. So you can see the new one now is on the right-hand side. Okay. Yeah, importantly, despite all these challenges, financial challenges that we have, we have a corporate social responsibility, and we are really doing everything possible. Maybe not to go through all this, it's just to tell you that we budget for $2 million each year for social responsibility. Right. And currently our policy focuses on education, and we are supplying 4 regions on an annual basis with textbooks and all necessary things for the school children, including uniforms and all that. So we were in Nkurenkuru 2 months ago, where we did the handover of some of these things, and I can tell you the communities were really happy and that we are doing a good job looking into plowing back
in the communities
from where we are getting the money from. I think the next slide will show the handover. That's when we were in Nkurenkuru, giving them all the necessary books. Challenges, yes, financial sustainability, debts and all that, no tariff increases, the aging infrastructure, the limited product portfolio, declining water demand. So we thought, each year we get 20 new customers.
Right.
We're not putting up new towns, we're not putting up new, so those are some of the challenges that we have.
you've encountered.
Yeah, we're encountering.
All right.
And that was the presentation.
Wow. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Nehemiah, for that very comprehensive and indeed insightful report and presentation. We have sure learned a lot from this presentation, and I'm sure that the clients now, the Namibian nation now knows, especially those residing in the rural areas, now know who to approach when they are in need of water pipelines. Now, this next segment is intentionally set aside for the journalists, the media practitioners in the house. If there are any of you that have questions for the CEO, kindly step forward or closer to the podium, briefly introduce yourself and the media house you represent this morning, and briefly post your questions to the CEO.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. It's really appreciated. My name is Ogito Craig. I write for Republican newspaper, and I work for NMH Group of media companies here in Windhoek. I've got a number of questions, so I'd like to just start off immediately. I'd like some more details and clarity regarding the desalination plant. Which company have you decided to go into the joint venture with, and how long do we expect the whole process to take until we can actually get that water from the ocean? I'd also like an update regarding the plan to build a long pipeline from the ocean all the way through Windhoek and even to Botswana. Then I'd also like to get an update about what you mentioned, the commissioning of the Nekadal irrigation process, what the holdup is, since we have all that water, where we are now in terms of that commissioning, and when people in that area can expect to make use of all that water. Then I'd like to ask a general question regarding access of water as a human right, and how that is taken into consideration based on the fact that Namibia, we are a very rich country full of poor people. My next question is also related to that, the pricing structure that you employ. How do you try to make those who have pay for access to water to supplement the needs of those who don't have money, so that all Namibians can have water? During the time of COVID, government decided to supply water free of charge. I expect that must have had some consequences for you as NamWater. I'd like to know how you have dealt with those consequences. And the next question is also related to that. I'd like you to share with us the current financial situation that NamWater finds itself in. When was the last time that you published your financial records? What is the status of your debt, or the debt owed to you as it stands at the moment? Also related to that is the issue of prepaid water supply cutoffs here in city of Windhoek, and all over the country we see municipalities and local authorities cutting off supply of water even though customers have already paid for that water. I'd like to hear from NamWater, what is your stance regarding cutting off supply of water, specifically once prepaid, and the total length of pipelines in the country. Do you know how much water pipelines there are altogether in Namibia, especially considering your plan to take over managing all of the pipelines in the country?
Thank you,
Thank you
Mr.
very
Craig.
much.
Thank you. That was quite a mouthful, but I trust that you've captured most of them, Mr. Nemia. Okay, over to you.
No, thank you very much for these questions. I will try my best to make sure that I give you the full answers to them. Starting with the desalination plant, where we are and who our partner is and how long it will take. So definitely, I explained already where we are. The partner that we are together with in this project is one of the mines, which is the Husab mine. They have all the necessary funds that are required, and that is going to help us a lot, because we were supposed then to go and mobilize between 2.5 to 3 billion to be able to do this project. But now they have committed to make the money available, partly because, as I said, it's a joint venture.
Indeed.
So we are also or have mobilized our sources, or mobilizing our sources for our shareholding in this whole project. So, as I said, we are at a very advanced stage. The plan that is on the table is that we need between 18 months and 2 years to get the plant in place after the financial closure. And we expect the financial closure to happen before the end of this calendar year. So from next year, 18 months or 2 years from next year, January, definitely we are counting that we should be able to drink water from this plant. Right. With regards to the pipeline, this project has been designed into 3 phases. Phase 1, which they call the SS1, is looking into putting up the plant at the coast. Then phase 2 is then, and the plant being put up at the coast is to supply the coastal needs first. But then we should be able to extend that plant to be able to supply water further to the inland, which is bring the water to Windhoek and then finally to Gaborone. There is a bilateral committee or commission put up between Botswana and Namibia that's looking into that project. And they meet and they discuss. So I think the ministry, because the ED of the Ministry of Agriculture, Water and Landform is the co-chairperson of that committee. So the ministry should be able to provide the details where they are for now. Okay. But it's something that is still ongoing in terms of discussions and looking at how it happens. But for us as NamWater, we are now focusing on getting that plant at the coast established and make sure that all the needs, water needs at the coastal areas are addressed. The commissioning of the Nekatal Dam said for us as NamWater, we are really ready to get things going in terms of water supply. But what I know is that the ministry have commissioned a consultancy project that's now looking into the design of the irrigation schemes and all that. They were busy procuring the land because there was also land that's required to be procured from local farmers where the big schemes is going to be put up. So it's only that process that we are waiting for to be completed, and definitely I hope soon the contractors will get on site ready to start preparing the land, and then we will be in a position to supply more water and get more income for ourselves as well. The expectation, as I said, this is also a ministry project. I'm not 100% sure as to what time they would have this project concluded in terms of the development of the land, or a preparation of the land for irrigation. Access to water as a human right, definitely this is something that you see. If we were really to look into for instance, just recovering the cost. I'm sure the tariffs in Namibia could not be where they are today.
Right.
A good example we can see how we are handling these things is currently, because of the lack of our own diesel plant at the coast, we are getting water from a private plant, which is the Orano plant. And if you look at the tariffs that is charged to the mines, the actual cost of desalinated water, because we are also then supplying water to the local towns, the Swakopmund and Hants Bay and all that, we are supplying them with water. We have what we call the blended tariff. And their tariff is still around $14, $15, I think that. And the tariff that is paid by the mines, who are really businesses, is around $40 per cubic meter. Right. So you can see how we are really trying to say people who are not really able to afford, because if you sell that water to the Swakopmund municipality at $40, they will sell it at $45 to the poor person in DRC, and they won't be able to afford it. Right. So the whole thing of also the government handling the tariffs the way they are being handled is also to really make sure that water is a right to afford. So it's not a matter of NamWater submit request for tariff increase approved. Right. So they look at what is happening to the people, affordability, the economic situation in the country. So all these things, and that's why we say we carry on, we push and try to make sure that we survive. But we are not ready to push, ready to milk.
And hence you mentioned for the past 5 years you haven't had any tariff increases. Right.
But if you look at the tariff increases, if you go to the history for the last 5 years for NamPower, but that's the power we buy to supply water.
Right.
So you can really see that the aspect of really recognizing the human right aspect of the people of Namibia in terms of access to water is realized in many ways. Right. So we are trying everything possible, and as I said, we are not really doing things in isolation. That's why even our tariffs are approved by cabinet, not by any independent body. Indeed. Although we have now also in the water sector come up with an independent water regulator, and they will be looking into the tariffs in the future. But right. I'm sure they will have this in the back of their minds when they are deciding on the tariffs. That, water is a human right. The COVID was a bit of a problem. There were also miscommunications. I still have those two memos written by the two ministers of they were not really saying provide water for free. They were saying people whose water is cut off
by the
please reconnect them because they need to have access to water during the COVID time.
Right.
But there were people who were probably earning the same I'm earning, but they were hiding behind this. They said, no, government said we must not pay for water. Water must be for free. But it was not like that. Right.
Misinterpreted.
Misinterpretation of what was really in those two memos by the two ministers. That's why many people carried on paying for their water because they knew it was a misinterpretation. But the impact of this then onto NamWater was a big one, definitely. We have applied from the government to get some subsidy for that period, which we got some money, and that really helped us to get through and pull through the COVID period. So, but definitely we did not really get what we expect to get if there was no COVID. But as I said, we are trying our best to really stand on our feet and carry on. Financial reports. NamWater is holding the annual general meetings every year. So there's no year that we are behind. We are now busy preparing for the AGM for the year that ended March 2024. And all our financial statements and things are available publicly. So we can account for everything that has been entrusted to us in terms of managing the public finances, in terms of our operations to supply water to everybody. Debt level, we are now over 2 billion. It's quite a bit of a problem. So, as I said, we are working together with the government, especially the Ministry of Urban and Rural Development, to look at how we address the debt of the local authorities, because especially that is where most of the money that's owed to us is lying with the local authorities, both village, town, and yeah.
Growth points
in growth points and all that. Cutting water, definitely that's not our because it's not part of what we are there for.
Yes.
We do cut water, but we don't cut water blanketly. I think like it was reported 3 weeks ago or something that we are doing this in Zambezi. We don't do it that way. What we do is, if we talk to Abraham, Nehemiah, who is responsible for paying for the account of his grandmother in Enana, you know, and he's always dilly-dallying, you know. The only way to get to him is to cut that water for that individual so that he can come, so that we talk. Because sometimes if you just say, please pay, they don't do it.
Right.
But blanketly cutting water is not really our motto. But it's actually a system that is, or it's a practice that is done by all the service providers.
Elsewhere, yes.
Worldwide, not only Namibia. Everywhere in the world, if people are not paying for the services providers normally cut.
Yes.
But because we are mixing or putting together then the aspect of water, human rights and all that, we do it differently, but we definitely do it when necessary, especially when we know this person or this entity is really able to pay, but they are just not willing to pay.
Right.
So you do it as a means to bring them to the table. And that's what we are prophesizing all the time. If you have issues, come to us, let's discuss, let's put up a program to say, okay, you can pay this debt off over the next 6 months. You can pay so much per month while you are also paying for your current consumption or current account.
Right.
Pipelines, countrywide, we have over 4,000 kilometers of pipelines. It's quite a, and that tells you then how much money you need in terms of maintenance. You have to drive following all these pipelines. So in terms of transport cost, in terms of S&T for people going out there and spend 2 or 3 days in the field following these pipelines and fixing the brakes and all that, it's a costly business to really deal with water supply in a big country like Namibia, because people are scattered all over, and it is really requiring a lot of resources to be able to deal with it.
Right. Okay, I believe that the questions that were asked were all addressed, and I trust you are happy with the responses, Mr. Greg, sorry? All right. Okay, at this juncture now, CEO, let me just pause here and really express my utmost gratitude for you and your team for having availed yourself from your busy office to come and update the Namibian nation on all activities pertaining NamWater. We highly appreciate the transparency, and we are wishing you all the best with the future endeavors, especially with being tasked to supply the Namibian nation with one of the very critical need, which is water.
No, thank you very much. We also very much appreciate for the opportunity, because our motto is stakeholder engagement. But platforms like this is very important to help us to give the message out there. And definitely this is not the last time we're here. So we'll be utilizing this facility for whatever information you want to disseminate to the communities. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much. Now, Namibia, that is all the time we had for today's discussion. Please do join us again next time. We will unpack another fruitful discussion here at the GIC. From myself, Hileni Felipe Samuela, and the entire GIC production crew. Until next time, take care.